You were walking on stage before the show, just showing us what it was like. Do you get nervous when you get on stage still? You've been at this for a while, but can you walk in front of 400 people and not even change your pulse? Is it that casual?
Yes. It's definitely not nerves. There's zero nerves. Right now, it's excitement. Yo, guys, mostly because I'm for the first time in my life, I can say I'm good. I'm good at what I do. And I'm not like in the past, I've been like, you shouldn't say that. I've worked really hard. So I'm Woody, there isn't a situation, I've done this so much. There isn't one I can think of that hasn't happened. A gun, people fucking, people throwing up, electricity going out, natural disaster. I've done all that stuff. Me throwing up on stage, me sharding just a little bit on stage and trying to decide if I was going to stick it out. I've done everything. And because of that I have confidence that you can't throw me off my game. And so, but I will say, I don't like the shows where I don't feel excited. I'm always like, what? I need to feel something because it's so cool to do. On the nights where I don't feel anything, I'm like, you know what? I'm a little worried. Like I don't want to be too casual. It's still a performance. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be too casual with it. But man, right now, all the wheels are on the fucking tracks.
I have a question.
That's great, man. I'm happy for you.
Yeah,
Would
thanks.
you rather talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, please go on. Please go on.
Well, I was gonna say, like, not just with the comedy, but with all of my creative stuff. Like that show that I sent you guys came from my little brain because execs told me, oh yeah, that can never be a show. Nobody's ever gonna watch it. How would you make this a show? And I was like, you guys are fucking dumb. So I self-funded it. I made it. It's the best thing I've ever done. Like, I am so locked into what I do now. That's what I mean. That's the confidence. I know finally what I do. I'm not worried about being Bill Burr or being a different type of comic that I like.
Sure.
I can't be those guys. I'm not those guys. I'm me. You know what I mean? And so I like silly, ridiculous, weird shit. And that's where my comedy comes from.
That's great, man. How long into, I guess, is this a pretty recent thing, it sounds like? Or I guess it's as with any change, it kind of evolves over time and you realize where you are once you get there.
I will tell you a lot of it has come from mushrooms. I
know you're a huge fan of mushrooms.
I have had a couple of experiences as of late that really changed my life. One was, okay, I've always thought of comedy as a puzzle, right? So I never thought of it as success and failure. I was like, oh, if this doesn't work, I just need to try a different piece, right? If you do a 1,000-piece puzzle, when you try a piece, you're not like, oh, that's a failure. Like, oh, that's just not the right piece. That's how I've always thought of comedy. So I've never been scared to try things. I moved that same theory to my life recently. So I don't think of things in success and failure anymore. Just that puzzle piece didn't work. So I need to put another puzzle in there. So there's no roller coaster. And it's helped my creativity so much because it keeps me focused. I don't get discouraged. I just keep trying. You know what I mean? And that was a mushroom revelation for sure.
What's your dose?
That depends on what we're doing. So for example, the other night I think about 2.5 grams, did a podcast, and it was wacky.
Yeah.
The
last time I did that much, I didn't enjoy it.
I enjoyed it because of who I was around, Kyle.
I was alone.
That could
So
be.
let me ask you this, because it wasn't the experience, actually. I hate myself. It wasn't the part where I was feeling like actively high from the mushrooms. It was the aftermath. It was like I had this weird hangover afterwards, but it wasn't like that sort of drained alcohol, dehydrated hangover. It was like an emotional depression draining thing. It was like, whoa, where'd this black hole in the middle of my chest come from, full of nothingness that I feel like I'm being sucked into? And like, I was so depressed for like 6 hours in the middle of the night. When I woke up the next morning, I was like, what the fuck was that all about? And I'm like, drinking my coffee, thinking like, what the fuck was I so upset about? And that really spooked me. Like I did. It wasn't like while I was high, I was having a hard time. It was afterwards, because I've never had a hard time like being high. Other than that, I passed out at Walmart.
Yo, that greeter was like, what the fuck?
They were.
Yo, I'll tell you something, dude. That depression only has ever happened to me with ecstasy, and never with mushrooms.
So, it was weird. It was temporary, and it was almost like.
Was it introspective?
No, it wasn't any. Even when I was feeling it, I was trying to nail down what it was that was making me feel so shitty, because then you can address it, right? I can like. Sure. I can get my hands around what this, even if I'm uncovering something that actually needs to be looked at. But that wasn't it. There was nothing. I just felt bad. It was like feeling nauseous. I just felt it. It wasn't about anything. It's terrible.
I don't. That hasn't happened to me, thank God. My kind of average dose, just to kind of have fun. If I would, like, if the four of us were fucking about, I don't drink anymore. But if the four of us were fucking about, and you're like, let's go to a bar, I could take 1.5 grams and go out and just laugh it up with you guys. You know what I mean? That's a fun night out.
I prefer LSD like way more than mushrooms, though.
I have some on me.
I feel like that's great. I don't.
Kyle, my son.
Can you mail it to Kyle?
No.
Don't say that out loud. My son and I each took half a dose and walked around Portland because we had shows last weekend, and it was so much fun. Like, nice. Because half a dose is like perfect for the daytime.